All right, folks, let's look at how to adjust the length of the hip for reality, right? So just like we had to go with our common rafters, we would calculate our theoretical length, which would go right to the center of the building, and then we would have to shorten the top of that rafter by half the thickness of the ridge. We have to shorten the hip, but remember we're rotated here at a 45-degree angle, right? From here to here, that's 45. So we're not shortening it the 3/4. We've got 3/4 here and 3/4 here. We're shortening it by two things, and the first thing we have to figure out is what is our run. So just like everything else on the hip, our run is adjusted. If this is based on 12, this is based on 17. So what we need to do is figure out what that distance is. That's step number one, and then we have to figure out the pitch, and we can figure out how much we have to shorten the hip. And so what I have over here is a close-up of our little triangle, right, where we have 3/4 of an inch from here to here, 3/4 of an inch from here to here, and if we were to use the Pythagorean theorem or draw this out and measure, what we end up with is 1/16 along the diagonal. So that becomes the length of our run. So that's how much, if we go from the center point out to there. So that's the measurement that we're dealing with. So there are two different ways to calculate it, and when we show you how to lay out hip rafters, this might make more sense. So what you have to keep in mind is this is the building run, and then we have our rotated run, and what we're actually cutting back in length is from our very center point, not just on the flat to the corner, but rotated down to there. So from there to there is our measurement, right? So our commons get cut back 3/4 on the level, where we can measure back 3/4 on the level. The hips are a little different. We still use this run, but our adjusted run, because we're on the diagonal, goes from here out to the corner. And our hip is actually dropped down a little bit at the tip. So this is an important thing to keep in mind when we show you how to lay this out, that we're actually going from here at a 45-degree angle and at a pitch or a slope. So it's a compound length that we have to cut back, and we'll show you a really quick way of laying that out when we go over how to lay out the hip rafter in class together.